Imagine you're having a normal day, minding your own business, when suddenly, a slap echoes through the air. Only it's not just any slap. A white woman, in a heated moment, slaps a young black man without realizing the life-altering consequences of her action. What she doesn't know. The man she just slapped is the son of one of the most powerful billionaires in the world, and his father is standing just behind her, watching everything unfold. It's a tense and shocking moment, one that no one could have predicted. As the woman turns around, she sees the man's icy stare, realizing her mistake, but it's already too late. The situation has escalated far beyond what anyone could have imagined. What happens next? Will there be an apology, or will the situation spiral into something far worse? And how will the young billionaire's father respond to this blatant disrespect toward his son? The tension in the air is almost unbearable, and the whole scene has everyone wondering what will come of this unpredictable encounter. Stay tuned as we dive deeper into what happens when two worlds collide in such an unexpected way, setting the stage for a story that's far from over. As the woman stands frozen, her mind racing to make sense of what just happened, the young man's face reveals no emotion. His eyes, cold and calculating, don't give her a hint of what's going through his head. But behind him, the billionaire's son can hear the faint shuffle of footsteps, growing louder with every second. He doesn't flinch. The tension is palpable, and the weight of the situation begins to settle in. The woman, clearly flustered, starts to stammer out an apology, but it feels hollow, almost too late. She looks around, hoping for some kind of ally, but the few bystanders nearby are already whispering among themselves, watching the scene unfold with curiosity and disbelief. Her heart races. She knows she's crossed a line, but she can't take back the slap. Meanwhile, the man behind her remains silent, towering over her. The moment feels like it's stretching out forever. What happens when a simple mistake like this turns into something far more dangerous? No one around seems to know, and yet, everyone can feel that the outcome will be nothing like what they expect. The young billionaire's son seems unfazed, but could this silence mean something more? The air is thick with suspense, and as the father steps into the scene, it's clear that this situation is far from resolved. What will he do now? The woman takes a shaky breath, trying to steady herself, but the man behind her, still silent, suddenly shifts his weight, stepping into her line of sight. His presence is commanding, and the air around him feels charged with something much heavier than just anger. It's power. "Do you have any idea who you are speaking to?" he finally says, his voice smooth, but laced with an edge. She freezes, her face draining of color. Her mind races. The words that slip from her lips are almost instinctive. "I didn't know. I didn't mean to." Her voice trails off, but the words can't undo the slap. They can't undo the shock in his eyes, the way the slap echoed in the quiet space, or the way everyone around them has suddenly stopped, waiting for something to happen. She looks around, almost pleading for a way out, but all she finds are the uncomfortable stares of onlookers, some with their phones out, capturing the moment. The pressure builds. The young billionaire's son, still stone-faced, takes a slow step back. His posture tightens as he glances at his father, who, until now, has been standing just behind him, watching without a word. His father's expression is unreadable, but there's something sharp in his gaze, an intensity that matches his son's stoic demeanor. For a moment, it seems like time is standing still, everyone holding their breath. The woman, desperate to salvage something, finally manages to speak again. "Please, I am so sorry," she says, the panic creeping into her voice. "I didn't know you were." Before she can finish, the billionaire steps forward, his presence overwhelming. His eyes scan the crowd, taking in the whispers and nervous glances before landing back on her. "It doesn't matter who you thought he was," he says, his voice steady, but laced with an undercurrent of cold fury. "You made a choice." The woman's heart skips a beat, the realization sinking in that she's caught in something far larger than herself. As the tension crackles in the air, she tries to speak, but the words catch in her throat. Her eyes flick back to the young man, who hasn't moved. He remains just as still as before, his silence holding a weight that feels like a judgment in itself. She can feel the eyes of everyone around her, the pressure building, and for the first time in a long time, she wonders how she's going to get out of this. What could she possibly do now? Would an apology be enough? Could anything be enough to undo what's been done? As the billionaire's son takes a step forward, his father's hand resting on his shoulder, the crowd seems to lean in. There's no going back now. Whatever happens next will change everything. But for now, the only thing that's certain is the heaviness of the moment, the uncertainty of what's to come. The woman stands there, her legs shaking, trying to find her words, but they're tangled in a whirlwind of panic. Every second feels like an eternity. The billionaire's son hasn't moved, but the silence between them is deafening. It's as if the world has narrowed down to just the three of them, the woman, the young man, and his father. The crowd around them is hushed, each person sensing that something huge is about to unfold. The billionaire's hand remains on his son's shoulder, a quiet show of support, but it's clear he's not in a hurry to make any move. His eyes scan the scene, cool and calculating. His son's eyes are still locked on the woman, his expression unreadable, yet somehow even more intense than before. The woman's mind races. Could she apologize again? Beg for forgiveness? She wants to, but something tells her that won't be enough. The billion-dollar man in front of her doesn't seem like someone who'd be swayed by a simple, "I'm sorry." The power in his presence is too overwhelming, and the slap too much of an insult. She feels like she's standing at the edge of a cliff, with nowhere to go but down. The bystanders watch in anticipation, murmurs circulating in the crowd. Some are already speculating about what's going to happen next. Maybe the woman will get arrested, maybe she'll be publicly humiliated. Others are simply waiting for the first sign of action, a hint of what's to come. Just when it feels like the tension can't get any higher, the billionaire's son takes another step forward. His eyes lock with the woman's, and for a split second, she thinks she sees something soften in his gaze, like a flicker of understanding. But then it's gone, replaced once more by that cold, calculating stare. The billionaire finally speaks, his voice low and steady, but with an edge that cuts through the stillness. "You've made a serious mistake," he says, each word hanging in the air like a warning. The weight of his words is almost suffocating, and the woman feels her chest tighten, her breath catching in her throat. She can't look away from his eyes. They seem to pierce through her, like he's seeing something far deeper than what's on the surface. For a moment, she wonders if he's going to strike back, if the slap will ignite something much bigger, something that could spiral completely out of control. Everyone around them holds their breath, caught in the same moment, unsure of what will happen next. Then, just as she starts to feel the pressure of the world closing in, the billionaire turns to his son, a brief but meaningful glance passing between them. The son nods ever so slightly, and the tension in the air grows thick with anticipation. The woman's pulse races. What did that look mean? Was it a sign of mercy or a signal to escalate things further? The crowd shifts uneasily, and in the distance, a police siren begins to wail, a reminder that this situation is dangerously close to breaking point. Every eye is on the three of them now, waiting, watching, wondering what will happen next. The billionaire's son opens his mouth as if to speak, and for a brief, heart-stopping moment, time feels like it's frozen. What will he say? Will he let the woman off with a warning, or will he take things into his own hands, bringing his father's influence crushing down on her? The silence stretches longer than anyone can bear. And then the unexpected happens. Just as the billionaire's son opens his mouth, about to speak, the unmistakable sound of a phone ringing slices through the tension. It's sharp and sudden, cutting through the silence like a knife. The billionaire's eyes flicker for a brief moment, his attention momentarily diverted, but he doesn't reach for his phone. Instead, it's his son who pulls out his own device from his pocket, glancing down at the screen with a look that shifts the entire atmosphere. The crowd holds its breath, watching the young man's face tighten as he reads the message. His eyes narrow, And for the first time in his entire ordeal, there's a flicker of emotion, a flash of something almost imperceptible. The woman's heart races as she wonders what could possibly be on that screen. Could it be good news? A lifeline in this tense moment? But no, his face grows even more serious, and without a word, he hands the phone to his father. The billionaire's expression changes the moment he reads the message. The cool, composed exterior cracks just slightly, revealing a hint of surprise. No, something more like concern, or maybe even fear. The woman watches, confused and nervous, as the billionaire's hand tightens around the phone, his knuckles going white. What could possibly have come through that would shake even him? The entire crowd seems to shift nervously, sensing that something huge has just been set into motion, something far beyond this one interaction. The billionaire looks back at the woman, his gaze now darker than before. "This is bigger than you realize," he says, his voice low and full of a cold intensity. The words send a shiver down her spine. What does he mean by that? What could be more dangerous than what's already happening here? As he hands the phone back to his son, the tension between them has shifted from anger to something else, something unspoken, but undeniably heavy. The young man nods once, his face unreadable. Without a word, he steps to the side, motioning for the woman to follow. The crowd murmurs, unsure of what to make of this new development. The woman looks between the two men, her confusion growing. What's going on? What just happened in that brief exchange? Suddenly, another voice cuts through the air, a sharp, clear voice that none of them were expecting. Is there a problem here? The woman's heart skips a beat as she turns to see a third figure approaching, someone she hadn't noticed before, but someone who clearly carries weight. A well-dressed man, his posture exuding authority, walks up to the billionaire, his eyes scanning the scene with an air of calm detachment. The billionaire's son stiffens, but says nothing. His father, too, remains silent, though his expression shifts. There's something about this new arrival that makes the entire scene feel even more volatile. As the man steps closer, the atmosphere thickens with the anticipation of what's to come. The crowd, once nervous, now seems on edge, waiting for a new twist in this already unpredictable drama. The woman feels the ground beneath her shift. She was already caught in the middle of a storm, but now, with this new player in the mix, she realizes that this situation is spiraling into something much bigger than she could have ever imagined. And with every passing second, she can't shake the feeling that her life might be about to change in ways she never thought possible. She glances back at the billionaire and his son, who are now exchanging silent looks with the newcomer. The game has changed. The stakes are higher than ever. But what's about to unfold, she has no idea. But the one thing she knows for sure is that this is only the beginning. The man who had stepped forward, the new figure, stares at the billionaire and his son with an unsettling calm. His presence is like a sudden shift in the air, heavy, unnerving. For a moment, the entire crowd stands frozen, unsure of what to do or what to think. The billionaire remains silent, but there's a noticeable tension in his shoulders as he faces the newcomer. The woman, still standing there, feels the weight of the moment bearing down on her. She's caught between the billionaire, his son, and now this mysterious man who somehow seems to be pulling the strings in the background. Her hands tremble as she looks around, sensing that something massive is about to unfold.